Hi, everybody. This is Sam Durbin. This is part three. So, one, two, three. And what I'm going to bring up is some other movie information that go along with blessing things into being. This video will probably be 30 minutes or a little less, but we'll see. So, the next movie after Facing the Giants is The War Room. Now, they all have pieces of information. So Facing the Giants, it had the idea of blessing yourself and believing in yourself, whether you lose or you win. Thank yourself and believe in yourself and love everything. And then praying, putting a goal list and a strategy of life, goals of what you want to achieve in life and where you want to go and what you want to see change. And start blessing that certain things will happen or that you would like certain goals to be achieved, and then watch the rest of your life correct itself. So trust by you following a path that you know that you can, everything around you starts to work for you instead of going against you. If you feel like giants and failure and everything is all on you because you're not doing everything that others expect you to do, this is about building yourself up and following what you know you are. And you are a loved, creative being in your heart. Your heart is always there for you. It knows your pains. It knows your suffering. It knows what you're going through that others are ignoring. It knows your experiences that others choose to not believe or notice are going on. So trust yourself. Trust your inner wisdom of your wisdom and follow your heart, but find a ways to get over the worry of it so that you can rise above it regardless what it's been doing. Find ways around it without harming or hurting others. Do things and be aware of what you know isn't really going on. Instead of freaking out over weird things and thinking certain things are a certain way, even if they are, put barriers in those areas and go towards things that really matter to you. Find out what you're eating and certain things to see if that's what's affecting you to see or feel those things in that way. But don't trust or not trust yourself over things that you know are causing harm. Find ways to get around the harm that's been done and find out what is it that I feel is my value system. So set up your own value system of what you feel matters to you. And that is what I would recommend. The movie suggests something a little different by trusting in God and Christ's connection within you. If that's what you feel you should do, do that. I do believe in an inner self-Christ from the experience I've witnessed personally, and that's why I do what I do. But it's more of an unconditional love. Everybody's okay that wants to be, and those that don't want to be there, they have their desired heavens or world or whatever they feel is existent, and they're living and following that life path that they feel they should. And so there you go. So War Room is a powerful one, and I really like this one because there's this wonderful lady that she's very good in this movie. She prays really strongly, and the story is just amazing. And then, of course, you got the guy in Facing the Giants as the boss over the couple and different stuff, and he's a spiritual man. But the one thing I do not like about this movie is it's promoting the idea of pharmacies or pharmacy drugs. It's promoting drugs, and I'm raw vegan and healing because that's what I got drawn to. But if you feel that that's what works for you, that's up to you. That's your choice. That's your path. I got drawn differently because those are suppressants, and so I don't like that part about this movie connection because, and I don't think they meant, I think they're just doing it because they don't think, they're taught that it's not wrong, but there's a lot of wisdom that I know that you don't, the pharmaceutical and the other things, I'm not a fan of it. Yes, they may have helped for pain and stuff, but you can get natural cures and natural things and oils that help suppress and heal you faster, and you can bless it and heal it with those high vibes and energy of those oils. It'll heal you, and you can tell yourself you're already healed and love those pains and love those things, and they'll heal really fast. I actually did that with my lip the other day and with other internal bleeding and other stuff with Solfigo frequencies and stuff. non-medicine, natural foods. That's it. It healed me like that. And I learned this about a year or two ago that you can do it this way. What I do like about this movie is the prayer room. Putting your goals up, putting goals up in a room or a place that you're always going to go to, that's your special place. And that you're okay with if someone else wants to go in there too and they want it to be their special place at certain times, then they can. But it's better to have your own individual place in your own individual rooms or your own individual places that you can go, that you're not worried about anybody else showing up in. And if someone else does, it's up to you to share it or find a new place. But basically your own prayer room closet, your own prayer place. So when that person is in there, you should let them have the time that they need to be in there for whatever they feel they should. That's their place. That's them getting their life back together. That's them feeling they should be a certain way. That's them going, okay, this is my life. This is what I need to focus on. This is my prayer room or my special temple room or my special meditation room or whatever. So for different religions, and I brought this up when I was in the church that I was in the past, which it is the same definition. It's just like being in a special room that you're taught is supposed to be a quiet, peaceful place that some people believe is. So it's like bringing your own celestial room for those that are part of the Mormon faith into your own home. Having your own celestial room in your own home, your own closet or prayer closet that is meant to be just as peaceful as if you're able to go in your own temple, peaceful belief system that a lot of them feel. And I'm not, that's great. I used to go there all the time when I was part of that religion. I'm no longer, and I still remember that you can do it in your own home. And I felt that doing it in your home is a lot more powerful, in my opinion, personally, than going into those places, because sometimes when you go there, you're sharing it with others, and sometimes others are blaspheming that space or that place, and it doesn't feel as peaceful for many. Some will say, "Oh no, it was for me every time I go." Well, not for everybody. It hasn't been the best for everybody. So there are people that would prefer to have their own space and their own temple space for them, so that they can feel at peace and not be bothered by others. And so, yeah. And I could go into more of that, but I won't. And I have knowledge that even their own leaders agree with that idea too, because they're making their own temple for them so that they don't have to confront with others as much. And I know that that's why they're doing it. And if they're doing it for any other reason, or they say they are, no. They're doing it for that one reason, so that they can get away from being harassed or bothered by their members, because they need their own special place to get special insight that they feel they need for their life, away from being hounded by their flock. And that's why they are doing it, so that they can have their peace to get what they call their so-called revelation, or think through the revelation a little bit more better based on what the laws tell them to. And it's not God's law. They're following the law of the land telling them to. So they have to kind of balance both of them for what they think they're required to, and they're willing to compromise with following what they feel they must do based on agreements that they made, which is not ethical fully. Personally, that's why I left that church and that connections of it, because of what they were doing. But that's their choice. That's their decision. That's what they feel is okay. And I noticed it was harming me and harming others, so I wouldn't be part of that. But if those feel that it hasn't harmed them or isn't, then you already have your choice. Do what you feel actually is helping. But once you notice that it is doing something, start thinking about what you feel you should do, so that you don't keep perpetuating that towards you or those you love. So there you go. Because you want to be at peace for yourself so that you can bring peace to others. So War Room brings up how you pray for people for grace. And there's this couple right here are having marital problems. These two with they have marital problem situations they're dealing with, him and her. And so she gets taught by her to pray. So he prays for her. And then he has to learn from his boss, or he tells his boss the truth of things that he did later because he was cheating his job and different things. So she teaches them to pray for her husband, pray for this guy here, pray for him. So she tells her to pray for him. And then the daughter gets influenced by this experience too. Their daughter gets influenced to help do the same, and then she does her own prayer list and her own thing and puts it in the same closet of her mother. Because your children will follow, if they love you and they notice you love them, they will follow your example. Even if you don't, they will follow what they think your example is, just because they want to get attention and to try to fit in with you. And so be aware of what, until they realize it's harming them or harming others, and they don't believe in that, and they were taught by you never to do that, then they won't be following things that they feel are contradicting what you originally taught them. To follow what you learned is better. Because even Abraham learned that what his dad tried to do to him, he got away from what his dad told him was trying to do to him for Egypt, where they tried to sacrifice Abraham. And then later on, Abraham was told to sacrifice his son, but then chose not to. So there is a lot of indoctrinational teachings that people have chosen to think is okay and right, that is just a little strange to me. But I see why others have been indoctrinated to believe the stories written, that it's okay, but we're supposed to be better than those past stories. We're supposed to think a little bit better about peace and acknowledgement and grow from what our past lifetimes thought was the right thing, or told, or tricked into thinking or feeling. We're becoming more balanced. We're becoming more aware of what the different vibrations are and what really we should be doing for the world, rather than what our ancestors did. But still respect the good that our ancestors have done, that are good for all, and that aren't enslaving or causing harm, or that don't seem questionable anymore, or that seemed questionable at the time, because now it's different, and we don't need to do the thing. And even if it was back then, we now know that what they were doing was a weird reasoning, but it was based on what they were going through, chose to be taught works. So I don't know. It's just everybody's going to do it their way of what they think is appropriate. So follow your heart and do what you feel, and let others follow theirs. So War Room is one of my most favorite shows because it talks about prayer is a powerful, and I wouldn't say weapon, but it says it right there. But they don't mean it that way. They mean it's a powerful protector. It's a shield and a weapon. So getting God to fight your battles for you rather than you physically fighting, getting God to get in their way, praying for grace for them so that they'll kick their own selves because of God energy, getting them to do that. And then they get influenced to beat themselves up in their own dream, waking themselves up. Or if they try to cheat, they throw up in the bathroom. Those are just examples of what they kind of bring up in this movie that this guy gets put into. And then realizing you have to make tough choices to make up for what you've done, regardless of the consequences that may be required for what you've done. And so you're taking responsibility for those choices or those actions of trickery. But then also, I think, personally, pharmaceuticals and others should also be very much punished in the same karma way for what they know their drugs and things are doing, when you could do natural foods and natural things that actually heal, that the ancient texts and ancient knowledge tells you the Black Plague time frame, those that survived it were oil makers and natural food eaters, our ancestry. And though most of them were the ones that survived longer because they ate healthier foods, better foods, and they were able to heal from disease faster because they didn't eat anything that was disease prominent, because it was all boosting them and giving them what God created. Eat of the garden, not of the rest. You're supposed to help nurse and bless animals to reproduce for their own kind, not eat those kinds. They're acidic. And so there's a lot of studies on that, and you can eat what you feel you should, follow your heart of what you think, but just be aware there are studies that confirm and information in all the different religions that going raw vegan is the way. And I didn't believe it either. And I'm not talking about vegetarian. Even eggs are acidic and cause issues because they are a life force that is supposed to grow into something. So, and you're raping them so they have eggs or certain things that are their supposed genetics that aren't meant to be for us. But everybody has their own opinion on that. But the opinion isn't what I'm about. I'm about facts of healing. And I saved my life, reversed cancer I had that was growing, that secret individuals were hiding from me that it was going on. And then I caught on to it and learned from a nutritionist and others that they do lie to you in doctors' offices about that because they're about guinea pig testing, not really healing you, but only going by the symptoms of things and then trying to cause more symptoms to you or to go around them or suppress them through meds that bandage but then harm in other areas or could, as you do, and they usually do. Especially if your body knows that it's not fully high vibe. So high vibe stuff. So that's a good movie. I recommend that. And this recording will probably be about 30 minutes. So The Secret, Dare to Dream is the next one. But yeah, see, this movie is awesome. I just have to say, War Room is amazing. And it's about prayer room. It's basically that you're praying it's a war strategy where it's not strategy, it's a spiritual strategy. So it's not about war, it's about being in a room of prayer that's similar to what they do in military for war room strategy stuff. But this is you praying in prayer instead of fighting. So this is getting God power to fight for you so you don't have to. And then only if you really need to. And then she does stand up to some robber that, and she says, in the name of Jesus, you won't. And the person doesn't. And she's an old lady that stands up to this criminal. And the police say, wait. She's like, no, I want to make sure that you write down that I said in the name of Jesus. Because everybody's always leaving Jesus out of things. And so I thought that was really hilarious. Sorry, that's my interpretation. I think she's amazing. Her actress role. Now, I don't agree the fact that they went to go get ice cream because I'm vegan and all of that, but it's okay if that's what, as I used to eat ice cream in the past. Who am I to judge when I've done that in the past? But I didn't know better. I didn't know what was going on. But even though I didn't, I always cared about animals, and I always wondered if there was a better way, but I was trusting my family and parents and others about nutrition, and then I realized that I just didn't get taught by the right people about nutrition. And it doesn't mean that they were bad. They didn't know either. And I think we've all been tricked, and so it's not their fault. It's really just the fault of the system. But the system knew, and they know, and they've done studies in military and all sorts of stuff about that. And about GMO versus non-GMO stuff too. And things that are healthier that aren't genetically altered. So that's the thing, going for the God raw form stuff rather than the stuff that is acidic or non-plant-based from the garden. Because that's what we're going to go back to, so you might as well do that now. So that's what I got drawn to based on the fact that many different religions teach that you get extra sensory abilities and healing powers. I was like, this is really cool. Now I know that it does work and it does extend your life. And it's better when you don't have metal in your back and your leg and other stuff, but you can still try to use that to help you until you're ready to dissolve that out of you and love it and appreciate it and not judge it, so that it can help with you until you find a way to have it be what it really should be, what it was meant to be, which it is chosen or it's got put into you, but it really vibrates only with me. And maybe I could turn it into bone. I don't know. Maybe it can if it wants to stay with me, it will turn into bone. If it doesn't, then we need to find a way to get it out after healing the bone so that I can be free from it. Because I would want it to be free just like I want to be free. But I would want it both to be safely freed and healed properly, so that we're both taken care of equally. So it's all about equal connection with me in all life forms. And I can explain that another time more personally. Many people wonder what I mean by that, and they think they know, but it's way deeper than what I seem to come across on it. But it's also very simple. Everything is energy, everything is connected, so everything can hear us, and we should love it all. That's it. Doesn't mean that it should be where it is. It just means we should appreciate where it is right now, and where we want it to be, we bless it to be that way now, so that we're all at balance. So, The Secret Dare to Dream is based off the Secret documentary Connections, and with Rhonda Rhimes, and I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right, but again, I mean it from the heart either way. It's about forgiving flaws and forgiving doubts and fears and blessing things into being and focusing on dreams as if they already are. So he brings up this contractor guy comes into this widow with 3 children and teaches them the idea of how thoughts create reality. What we focus on, what we feel, creates the outcome. And so if we perpetuate and think negatively, we're bringing possible negative attributes onto something, making it worse than it really needed to be. So what I've learned from this and other shows is you can ask the storm to cease, and it will, by talking to it as if it hears you, asking it or thinking as if it will, and then it hears your thought, communicates with you, because it is a real thought form. They don't necessarily bring that up in here, but that's something that Christ and other forms have said, and I've tried it. Bless it for grace. Talk to it. Even if you're in your home and you can't be out there, believe that it can hear your thoughts and your feelings while you're inside, and that it can hear you even if your windows are shut and everything, as though they couldn't. Believe that they can, because they're part of the universe and they're part of you. They can hear you. It can feel you, and it will respond. Or something that can hear you can respond to it in the way that it can hear. And so a higher form self, God, whatever, angels, whatever, can talk to the wind for you if it can't hear you. But talk to it as if it can, and then believe that angels or what other form will communicate back to it so that it does. But when you feel that it can, and you're out there outside where you can talk to it and say something safely, then it will respond and hear you that way, right? Because it's right there. It's around you. So of course it will hear you there. And if it still can't, then ask angels and others to be there if you don't know if it will or not. But talk to it as if it will, and then it does. You can do that with babies. You can do that with animals. You can do that with bugs. You can do that with other stuff. Sometimes you have to talk and say it. But depending on the type of creature it is, it may have an attitude. And it may want to follow that attitude. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hear you, and it doesn't mean it won't respond. So trust that it will, and trust that it doesn't have the attitude that you think it might. And some will listen, some may not. But talk to it with love and power. And if it doesn't listen, it will be hit by wind or something that will get it to listen. It's really cool because the universe does get connect. So one of the ones that I've noticed that don't always listen but have at times is mosquitoes. Mosquitoes don't necessarily or haven't as much, but they do at times. And then bees and hornets, they definitely have. They've listened to me like a ton of times. And the trees have talked to them and communicated with them a ton of times. So yeah, I've gotten those creatures or those things to listen. It's pretty cool. So yes, I have gotten beings to listen. and they listened and they got away. Now, another thing that I've gotten to listen is I've gotten water, I've gotten baby individuals of my friends or others that were friends at the time to ask them a question to see if they could hear me when they're just barely just newborns, even just with it before they could even talk, and they can hear you. And I say, can you touch this for me? And I tell it to them telepathically, and then they do. And so I don't even tell it to them out loud and to see if they would, and they did. And so babies can hear you telepathically, and maybe through other angels communicating with them to help them hear you or pay attention. I've also prayed that children would pray for me. And then I went for a walk in the past at that time, when we were able to more, with a cousin of mine and others, and at the time it was a cousin, and we walked across Pomerod, or a walkway area at Farmington Station in Farmington, Utah, and we walked around there while I was wearing my leg braces at the time and different things, and this child, and I prayed earlier that day that I asked the children that all children will pray for me, and as I walked by, hoping that they would, still thinking throughout the whole day that they will, a child that doesn't know me and a family I don't know, they were just talking to, and they didn't even talk to me personally. One just stood right by me, and my cousin wasn't even paying attention, and they said my full name out loud, and they said, "Okay, Samuel Durbridge," and then they stood there right where I was, stopped for a second because my cousin stopped for a second, and then because he needed a rest or something, and all of a sudden this girl just stood right there, didn't look at me, just looked at and said, "Okay, Samuel Durbridge, will do." So it's like my energy was getting to the prayer. She was near me, my atmosphere or biofield, and felt the prayer being answered or heard to her. And by me being there, it was almost like the angel wanted her to say it out loud, so I knew that it was being done to all children. That I asked for children to pray for me, and they got the name of who to pray for, and because I know that children's prayers are powerful, because they believe and they're willing to do it. And adults, they're a little bit more stubborn. And with their prayers, they want to do it with innuendos of what they think the person deserves rather than from the heart. Sometimes they'll do it less grudgingly if that's what they choose. But children, they just do it like knowing that they will, and the ones that are very telepathic or connected, or it could have been government entities telling them to do as well around, or I don't know what that individual was told to do for me, but it felt as though they were being told to pray for me, and me hearing that they did. But they didn't know who I was, or they didn't know, and they were just walking, and then they stood there and they're like, "Okay, yeah, I'll do that for Samuel Durbridge." And then they walked forward again. And I was like, right, but I had no name tag on me. They didn't look at me knowing that I was that Samuel Durbridge that they were saying. And I don't know who or what got them to do that. And I don't think I did a video telling people or telling children to pray. Maybe I did, and maybe they got drawn to it at the time that I prayed that day, but I never posted a video that day that, to my knowledge, to do that. And so I think I did it later or some other time beforehand. But that around that time, I have asked several times, and maybe that energy got them to be drawn to it at the right time for me to hear that people are doing it and are seeing it. And so I'm like, this is awesome. So yeah, prayers do get answered. Blessings do come. And I might go a little bit over 3 minutes. But basically, your thoughts and your feelings and your actions of reactions of forgiveness of yourself and others, but then doing what you feel is right, and focusing on that you'll always get things you desire, and then they will. And then another thing I just learned is if you ask questions like, why is this happening to me? Ask questions of the positive nature in that way. I know it's weird, and it doesn't seem normally capable of us normally to do that, yet it is. We can do it, just like we can do the others. So you can say, I bless why is it that I'm so wealthy, healthy, and happy? Why is it that I'm this and that? Why is it that I have this and that happening? Why is it that this is going on? So yeah, you can do that. So anyway, there's my 3 videos that I'm doing right now. Maybe I'll do one more, but I just wanted to finish that up. Maybe I'll do 33 minutes real quick here. So this is a good movie. It teaches you to dream, and yes, I haven't opened it, but I have watched it, and I do have it on digital as well. So I just have it there for that. And The Greatest Showman, I love this because it teaches you to dream big, even when you're at your lowest, and even if you get to your highest and you realize you've overstepped and you've made mistakes and become something you didn't think you would ever become, you can go back. That's going the wrong way rather than the good way. You can go back to what you were again and do it the right way. And so it's all about changing what you realize you've done to what you now do. And then I'm just going to sum this one up. This is my favorite one connection because it brings up water is memory. Olaf brings that up. Olaf the snowman tells them water is memory in Frozen 2. And they all get separated in this here and there in this new forest, and the elements need to be freed. And then they find out history of the past that they didn't know, and they realize, well, now that the secrets have come out about the past, now we just need to do the next right thing. And I think this is really good thing because secrets are about to come out. For those that are awakened, we're going to help you realize why that they are. And some of us think that certain secrets will come out, and we'll realize that it was other ones, and it will make more sense than what we thought it was. But it still might be the other. The whole thing is there's going to be secrets that help us go on the better path that we really should go on, so that the real stuff that benefit the world can be known. And it's going to be amazing. Like, I'm excited for it because that is what I'm all about, is making my desired dreams come true so I can help others too. And I want to make others' dreams come true even before I make my own and as I make my own, because I'm always making my dreams come true every day. Even if I don't see it or notice it, it's happening. And for you, it's happening too, all the time. Just keep telling yourself, ask yourself, why am I so amazing? Why am I so beautiful? Why am I so successful? Why am I so powerful? Bring stuff like that. But Olaf saved his own life by telling his friends that water is memory. When he disappears or melts in this show, he comes back because she remembers he said that. So Olaf saved his own life. And we can save our own too. So bless you all. Take care.